It's a society that's adrift. There's no anchor, there's no port, there's no dock, there's no rudder, there's no map, and there's no destination. That's your society. I mean, look, America, the land of opportunity, right? Think about this. The best and greatest country in the world, the best country that ever existed, liberty, freedom, prosperity, on and on and on. But look at you. It's the land of milk and honey, but everyone is always trying to find a side hustle. Everyone is endlessly talking about being on their grind. You know, motivational speakers are a billion-dollar industry. Life coaches, self-help books. Social media is full of inspirational quotes, so-called, on and on, for supposedly people who are living in the best country in the world. While you look like, to everyone else, you look like you're constantly on the verge of a nervous breakdown. You look like you're barely holding it together. Like you need someone to pump you up just to help you get out of bed in the morning. How great can it really be? You flood social media with that stuff. All that you can do it, you know, the you can do it affirmations, all the you will survive this posts. You're beautiful, you're important, you're special, you're a champion. All of that. You flood social media with that. You flood social media with those things. And everyone in the world sees it. You understand? Everyone in the world sees that, and it looks to them like America is staring in the bathroom mirror trying to pull themselves together to face the day. That's what it looks like. You see what I mean? It looks very sad to people outside. You know, people in countries that don't proclaim to be the greatest and most wonderful nation on earth, well, they don't have to hype themselves up just to do normal things. They don't have to hype themselves up just to function in the world. People in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Latin America, so-called, they don't need motivational speakers. They don't need life coaches. They don't need inspirational Instagram quotes just to be able to stop crying in the office parking lot and go to work. Honestly, it always looks like it's a toss-up with you, whether you're going to post an inspirational, motivational quote on social media or jump off the roof. You know, to the rest of the world, your society looks like a wreck, looks like an emotional wreck. But you see, that's because the rest of the world did not spend a third of their life glued to a screen. The average person in the global south has spent a fraction of the time that Americans have spent consuming media. They also have better relationships with their families. They have better friendships. They have better support networks. You know, they have better ways of coping with trauma. They have better ways of coping with difficulty and so on, even though they're not fortunate enough to live in the best country in the world, you know? Bolivia's bathroom isn't framed with, you know, sticky notes telling it what a winner it is and how it's going to crush it today. Indonesia isn't driving to work listening to Tony Robbins on their headphones. Do you know the awkward, embarrassed silence you would get in Mauritania if you tried to give a confidence-boosting pep talk to a bunch of students? I mean, the only people in the global south, the only people in the Muslim world that this would resonate with at all are the people in those countries who are westernized. Isn't that funny? The more westernized you become, the more Americanized you become, the more you need constant affirmations and constant confidence boosting. Because westernization is alienation from normal human approaches to life, even for Westerners. And see, I'm saying all of this to say, this is why I say that all they do is lie. All they can do is lie, without even meaning to lie. They can't be truthful because they are estranged from the truth. They're estranged from reality. They're estranged from the real world. Their cognitive health is damaged. Their cognitive functions, you know, their thinking skills, their concept of reality. And there's always this smoldering, simmering, mental, psychological, and emotional illness that they're constantly trying to suppress and deny. They're barely holding themselves together, wallahi. Like I said, you flood social media with all your insecurity. You flood social media with all your inadequacy, your low self-esteem continuously. All the, you know, forced displays of bliss, all the beauty filters, all the endless cliched personal development advice. Everyone knows that you're not trying to inspire anyone but yourself. Because your life is so vacuous, your life is so purposeless, your life is so mundane compared to the fake version of life that you spent 100,000 hours absorbing since childhood. And you can't bear to compare the reality of your life with that false version of reality. So you barely are able to even walk out the door without medicating yourself in the morning, medicating yourself either with alcohol or narcotics or prescription drugs, or medicating yourself with social media likes for some vapid quote about living your best life. I mean, think about it. Your society came up with this thing. You tell people, fake it until you make it. Fake it. Fake being capable. Fake being qualified. Fake being successful. Fake being happy. You know, fake being beautiful with your beauty filters. Fake being fit. Fake being healthy. Fake being motivated. Fake being strong. Fake being wise. Fake being smart. Fake being informed. This is what you teach your people. This is what you teach your society. Why? Is it because you used to teach them that if you work hard, you can make it, and everyone found out that that was a lie? So now you tell them that the key to success is to be fake? What kind of culture is this? And again, understand that you're broadcasting this pathology all across the internet to the whole world. The whole world sees it. And now everyone knows that you're faking. Everyone knows that you're frauds. See, I'm telling you, it's impossible to get anything even like the truth from these people, because they themselves are cut off from the truth. It's not their fault. It's not necessarily because they are deliberately lying. They're deliberately dishonest. No, but they are no more capable of telling the truth than I'm capable of speaking Swahili. They can't make any sense even if they want to. The society has paralyzed them. They've been victimized. They've been traumatized. And then they were propagandized. They've been militarized, desensitized, dehumanized, and monetized. And yes, they've been neutralized, and that's a whole lot of lies. You know? So if you're American, I mean, if you're Western generally, but especially if you're American, if you were raised in America, and you went through that 110,000 hours of programming, then you have to understand that in order for you to even start learning about reality, if to even start learning, you have to understand you're not even starting at zero. You're in a hole. You're at less than zero. Because it isn't just that you're ignorant about the world, you have been miseducated about the world. So you have to actually unlearn all of that miseducation. You know, all of those tens of thousands of hours of programming, hundreds of thousands, in fact, because that includes not just your media consumption, but it also includes your schooling, your so-called education too. So you have to unlearn all of that indoctrination. You have to unlearn all of that programming just to get you out of that hole, just to get you up to zero. You understand? So that then maybe you can actually start to learn about the world that you live in. You have to get to zero first. But not only have they got you in a hole, they've got you to where you don't even know how to climb out of the hole. You don't even have those skills, the climbing skills, because they taught you the most dysfunctional approach to knowledge and the most dysfunctional approach to the processing of information imaginable. You know, it's an approach that basically prevents any sort of understanding. And I think it's calculated. See, this is where you have to understand that there's layers of gaslighting that they do. The complexity of their tactics to mislead you. It's not that straightforward. It's not just that, you know, the gaslighting for them isn't just that they want to make you believe that you're not seeing what you think you're seeing. You know, it's not just trying to tell you that something is other than what it is, and what you can tell it is, what you see it is. That's amateur level, you know, telling you it's day when it's actually night. No, they go deeper than that. They'll actually have you doubting your own reasoning. They'll make you doubt not only what you're seeing, but they'll make you doubt the whole mental process that takes place in your mind that explains to you what you're seeing. They're throwing a monkey wrench in the whole machinery of your common sense. Like if it's night, okay, if it's night and they tell you that it's day, then they'll tell you, well, the sun is actually there. It didn't go away. Technically, the sun's light is still shining on the earth after all. So what does night really even mean, actually? You know, night means the absence of the sun, right? And the sun is never actually absent. So really, there's no such thing as night, actually, if you think about it. You see what I mean? This is what they do. This is how they play with words. This is how they manipulate and how they abuse normal logical sense, just so that they can make everything nonsensical. Because when everything is nonsense, then nothing means anything. There is no right or wrong. Nothing has a definition. Nothing has any meaning. Everything is arbitrary. Everything is subjective. Everything is meaningless. And that's how they want it. That's how they want you to operate in the world. I'm telling you, it's intellectual sadism. They're torturing your mind, and they've done it to you your whole life. And then at the end of that, even intelligence and even sense don't have any meaning or value, which means that anyone and everyone's opinion has equal validity and equal value, which is the same thing as devaluing knowledge, devaluing truth. Please understand me. And that's free speech, so-called. You know, free speech, the way they do it, is just a way to completely drown out reasonable, intelligent, informed, and knowledgeable voices. That's why they support free speech, because the truth is, if you want to learn, the only way to learn is to listen, is to shut your own mouth and listen. There's no other way to do it. Nobody learns by talking. Your own voice never taught you anything. You know, they say talk is cheap. Well, in America, it's free, and they made it free for a reason. And the reason is because they want the noise. They want the noise. They've worked it out so that you can actually censor people even more effectively by letting everyone talk. Now they don't have to silence anyone anymore. They don't have to silence anyone. All you have to do is increase the volume on everyone so that then the voices that you should be listening to can't be heard. Oh, it's brilliant. It's as brilliant as it is diabolical. Now that's the way they can make sure that you never get out of the hole. You see how it works? So my message first is for the Muslims, for our ummah, and for the people in the global south more broadly. The decolonization of your intellect requires that you recognize that non-Muslim Westerners, that Americans, are literally incapable of telling the truth. Even if they want to, they can't do it. You're dealing with the people who are afflicted with debilitating cognitive damage, debilitating emotional disorders, crippling psychological and mental confusion and dysfunction. They'll treat a yes or no question like it's a multiple choice. They'll treat it like it's an essay question. No, you need to push all of that aside. You need to push all of that off the table. You need to hit the mute button on all of that. And as for Westerners, as for Americans, I'm telling you that you need to recognize what your society has done to you. You need to recognize that no society that cares about you would ever do that to you. And you need to realize that your society requires you to pump yourself up, hype yourself up, intravenously inject a constant flow of affirmations and motivations and constant pressure to fight and to struggle and to hustle and to compete and fake it until you make it. Well, that's not a society that wants you to succeed. That's a society that does not facilitate your success. It's a society that makes success unattainable. And then they try to make you feel like it's your fault that you're not a billionaire. They want you to feel like it's your fault and that you're a failure because their system is rigged. They want you to think that it's all your fault that 10% of that population controls 70% of the wealth. And make you think it's your fault that you didn't try hard enough to get into that 10%, as if the 90% of the population are the blameworthy ones and not the inhumanly greedy 10%. And you need to realize that your society has wronged you. They've wronged you very badly. You need to realize that you're not safe, you're not healthy, you're not informed, and you're not happy. And they have deprived you of even the ability to ever become any of those things. All you can do, all you are allowed to do, and all that is actually required of you to do is to fake it. No matter how bad it is, no matter how bad it gets, you're expected to just slap on a big white tooth smiling filter and pretend. They want you to perform America. That's your obligation. Forget about your own happiness. You have to perform America for the world. Never mind that whole audience is mortified by this performance, and they've already left the building.